Yayladağ refugee camp near Turkey's border with Syria. There are around 3,500 people living here, with more arriving by the day. Its occupants fled in terror, leaving their homes and the land where they belong. They are part of a wave of Syrians escaping the government crackdown on pro-democracy protests, the latest refugees of the Arab Spring. The 20th of June is UN World Refugee Day. The thousands of people uprooted by the uprising and conflict across the Arab world make this year especially poignant, says Mans Nyberg of the United Nations Refugee Agency, the UNHCR.
It's basically the last desperate move you make when you don't have any other option. When your home is burning, you have soldiers attacking your town, you just have to leave.
A sandstorm is brewing at the Shusha refugee camp on Tunisia's border with Libya. Hundreds of thousands of refugees have passed through here since the Libyan conflict began in February, mainly expatriate workers from Africa. Violence in the camp between different nationalities has escalated in recent weeks. Scores of refugees were killed when parts of the camp were set on fire. Shishai Tesfai is a refugee from Eritrea.
10 days before we lost 4 of our brothers. They burned on one tent. They can't escape because it is flammable when it's burned, and it doesn't give you time. Just it burns, it destroys within 5 minutes.
Around 1,000 children live in the camp. A temporary school set up by the UN was also burned. With sandstorms and fires destroying parts of the camp and the flow of migrants showing no signs of stopping, workers here at Shusha are putting up more tents, and the camp is extending further back into the desert. The conditions for the people living here are extremely tough, but they can't go back to Libya because of the violence. Many of them say it's also too dangerous in their home countries. In effect, they have no home to go to. That's the situation facing 3,500 refugees in the camp. People from countries like Eritrea, Somalia, Sudan, Chad and Iraq.
Everybody can see the future of Libya. It's like a civil war. And Libyan people doesn't like African people. They think they are not Africa. And if I get back to Libya, it'd be silly. It's a crazy thing.
The UN estimates there are 7 million refugees like Shishai around the world, people who have nowhere safe to return.
The biggest problem today is so-called protracted refugee situations, where people have been living as refugees for decades, for generations, and there is no solution in sight for them.
For tens of thousands of people fleeing Libya, the promise of a new life in Europe can be bought for around $1,500, the average price of a boat passage across the Mediterranean. The majority arrive here on the Italian island of Lampedusa off the North African coast, in boats that are heavily overloaded and often unseaworthy. Maruf is a Bangladeshi migrant worker who was living in Tripoli.
Too much wire, this government, another party, every day wire. This no like after die all people. So come back Italy. But 5 days leaving these ships after help me Libya government, this now come from. So all people very lucky. After come nearest broken ship.
3 passengers died the night Maruf's boat crashed into the rocks. Several hundred refugees and migrants are thought to have drowned in the past few months, trying to find a better life. The UN estimates that there are 43 million uprooted people on Earth. They say the only long-term solution is an end to the conflicts that force people to flee their homes for an unknown future. Henry Ridgwell for VOA News on the Tunisia-Libya border.